Today on the John Mabry Show, we're talking to Ash Palmer. Ash is a man who knows about whiskey and gin. Would that be right? Is that
More
your...
whiskey, probably. Yeah. Trying to learn more about gin, but more whiskey. Yeah.
What is your favourite? What is your favourite whiskey?
Uh,
I know that's a really difficult question to ask.
It's a risky answer, but hey, look, I like stuff from Bruichladdich. I really like Bruichladdich. It was probably the distillery I look forward to most when I visited Scotland, and mainly because they bottle everything at a high ABV. That's one of the examples.
Cool.
They bottle everything at a high ABV until filtered. I can get real technical and we'll turn into whiskey.
Whoa! Does it taste good?
Very good. Yeah, and the variety is very wide. You could go unpeated, lightly peated, and then super heavily peated, which we shared with Glenn the other day. And the variance is very, very good.
So let's. There's been lots of learnings you had over the years. Where did Ash Palmer start his liquor journey?
I started working in a liquor store in 2004.
Yeah.
Under the Decca sign.
In Huntly.
In the shadows of the Huntly power station. Yeah. So I've been there, and I'm still there. I was there today.
Yeah.
And it's been a really good income, But I started obviously the online business this time last year. Actually today, it's 1 year today.
10 years.
I just remembered actually. I didn't tell anyone. I'll do a video later. But yeah, 1st of November. We didn't sell anything for the first 2 weeks. It's one of those things. And
I think you're doing pretty well. If it didn't sell anything for the first 2 weeks, a lot of people don't sell anything for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
But so for 28 years before that, 14. He's not that old. He's not that old. 14 years before that, How did that knowledge around whiskey grow? Was it just being around it? How did you learn about whiskey and spirits?
But being in the industry, and having a store in a low socioeconomic area, I'm not exposed to a lot of good quality stuff like this.
Yeah.
But it's something I liked. And talking to people, learning about it, and I was always exposed to these brand ambassadors. We'll go to these conferences and all the franchisees will be in the corner having a wine or beer. I'll be seeking out that key brand ambassador, asking a bunch of questions, and you want to maybe call it self-harm, lots of consumption as well, a lot of self-discovery.
Yeah.
But, I drink whiskey for flavor, full flavor and pleasure. Some people do drink it for that agenda of getting drunk. I generally don't. I drink it for the flavor. So,
Good. And how many whiskies are there? Because New Zealand's not really known for its whiskies.
No, we're not yet. We have some really cool stuff coming through. Like we got Thompson, which is just up the road from here, North Shore.
Yeah.
He's making some pretty cool stuff. A lot of young stuff at the moment. We got NZ Whiskey Collection down south. They haven't made their own whiskey yet, but they are now. They're doing Pledge Me campaign. So they're going to be making whiskey. They have some old stock someone else had made, and they had acquired. They've been selling that. And there's others coming as well. There's going to be one in Pocono. I don't know if you saw. I was quite fascinated at side because
Pocono, isn't Pocono good for their cheeses?
And ice cream.
Cheeses and ice cream, yeah.
But the part that got me, it's got a really good water source. I would not have thought Pocono, surrounded by all the farming, dairy and Puki, you've got all the veggies growing. I wouldn't have thought the water source would be that great, but apparently it's got a great water source and they're going to be making whiskey and other stuff there. So, yeah, good luck to them. I'm really looking forward to it.
Got it. And why did you go online? What's that? I'm clear online works, right? Here we are, the evolution of, phone and moving online.
Yeah.
What was the attraction for you?
I think it's all about qualified customers. So in the shop, we turn over 30, 40, 50K a week. Only one person a week is looking out for something like that, all right? But they're not ready to buy that every week as well because, this one in particular is $375 bottle. But going online, I could penetrate the market very quickly. So when I'm doing my whiskey review videos, your average beer drinker is not watching them. It's that sort of person who's keen, who's discovering. He's watching them and he's very quickly becoming qualified towards more of the high-end stuff.
Got it.
And then age and exclusivity starts to come in.
So it's really about, okay, well, there's lots of liquors that we can choose from, but choose your niche, and your niche is whiskey.
Yeah. And I say to people, a lot of people say, hey, look, I don't like whiskey, it burns my mouth or whatever. And I always say to them, you got to give it time. This is not a beer. This is not a wine either. You got to respect it. You got to sit with it. I'll pour a nip of whiskey. I'll spend an hour with it. I'll watch a whole episode of what's that president's show?
What show?
House of Cards.
All right,
So
yeah.
I'll work in that over a whole 45-minute House of Cards episode, you know, and depending on the whiskey and the mood you're in, it could elevate the experience, you know. Yeah. So,
I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
It's about smell. It's about body and depth. What's one of those? Well, what's the most enduring quality about a good whiskey? What do you look for in a good whiskey?
I've been saying it for a while because I do my live videos.
Yep.
I do want to start doing them on YouTube, which will be another level. And I do want to come up with a rating
Don't
system.
you just hang on? Just stop you here. Don't you just love his passion? You know, you can see why he really wants to be the whiskey guy in New Zealand. It's just it's just infectious. Just the level of passion that you have for this fine spirit.
So the point I was going to make was, I would judge a whiskey on the finish. So, like I say, Thompson's making good whiskey. He's making amazing whiskey. You drink it, but you can tell it's quite young. The flavor up front's really good, but there's no sort of finish. And something that has age or has a good ABV, has been aged in the right cask, been looked after by the right people, it will have that long finish. And that's why I said I'll take my time with the whiskey, just let it roll around a bit. But that's if you're brave and drinking neat like me.
Hey, it's the only way to go, isn't it?
Yeah, well.
Well, I guess, you know, if people don't know a lot about whiskey, how would you tell them to start? What if I know you do your tasting events, and I'm sure you've got one probably coming up soon that we can talk about. What journey do you take them on?
See, like when I do my events, right, I tell them, and I show them a photo of me and my personal hero, Ian MacArthur, who's worked for a distillery called Lagavulin for 40 years.
Yeah.
And I met him in Scotland on Isla and asked him, hey Ian, how do you drink your whiskey? Well, how should I drink my whiskey? And he said, look, drink however it makes you happy. So put water in there, put ice in there, put Coke in there if you must, but don't talk to me. But drink it how it makes you happy. So that's what I say to people during the events as well. You know, we have water available, not ice. Ice inhibits both the smell and the flavor. It does significantly. But I think that's why ice came into the whole whiskey drinking thing.
Sure.
Put lots of ice in there, I'll just knock it back and just the alcohol will hit me. I'm not really looking for flavors. So if you want the full flavor.
But that's if your objective is just something else, is to
just drink a bit and
sure. So there are similarities between wine and whiskey in terms it's about the finish.
Yeah. I mean a good Pinot Noir.
Hang on, let's not talk about wine. There's enough bloody wine around. Let's talk about fucking whiskey now.
Right. But the point I was going to make is there's a level for everything, right? An $8 wine will give you pleasure here. A 12, 14, or 100 or 200. Of
course.
It's the same with whiskey, you know. But you can buy some very expensive whiskey, which is very average. And trust me, when I'm reviewing some of that kind of stuff, and it's always been gifted to me, it can be a bit hard to give honest feedback. But, you know, that's the fear I have for the YouTube channel one day because it's available for other people out of New Zealand to see as well.
Sure.
So, you know.
But ultimately, it's your perspective. You know, if you're doing a review, it's ultimately your perspective, but you are an expert in that field.
Yeah.
So, you know, yes, there will be people who are perhaps more educated who will disagree with you.
Yeah.
But it's you know, you're not necessarily talking to them, are you?
No, but the thing is, I find whiskey as a form of art. Can I give you another analogy?
Sure, I love it.
We used to run a lot, not now. But we went running in Hamilton Gardens one day, and this stupid rusty metal thing was up, and two of us were debating.
Rusty metal.
It was like, they made it look like a valve, and we thought, this is stupid. I hope council didn't pay for this. And this old guy who was running with us said, hey, look, you know, it is a form of art, because technically anything that creates discussion and, you know, sort of chat back and forth.
Creative is subjective,
And
sure.
that's what whiskey does as well. If done in the right sense, you know, 2 people, 3, 4, sit down, have a sip, you know, give it a smell, and you're talking. It is a form of art. It's taking someone a long time. Most of the art isn't aging it properly. You know, you can distill whiskey quite well using computers these days, but aging comes in. So, you know, I mean, this one in particular is 24-year-old, which is a long time. You know, I'm 34, so it's only 10 years younger than me. So.
34. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And moving forward to your online community and your online space, what came first, the events or video?
Oh, the video.
Okay.
I did a live video and no one watched it.
Mind you, that's quite the normal. You know, people in this world of instant gratification, we look at the number of likes and we just get so despondent.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you move past that? You said no one watched it. What had you keep going?
Well, I did it in a way. I would turn your phone's on now. I just turned it on and I just did what I would normally done anyway on my couch, and I just kept drinking and talking what I knew about it. I don't know if it's good enough.
And they were Facebook Lives, yeah?
Yeah, and then suddenly started growing. They go to about 1,000 views now, some of them, which makes me very excited. But what it does, it creates talking points on Facebook page, Messenger, right? Like I say to people, I think I've got 7 or 8 social media channels. Like LinkedIn's becoming quite big.
Yep.
And people message you a lot. They might not necessarily watch that 8-minute video, but they will, it piques their interest.
Got it.
You know, and some people are shy. They go, hey, look, I don't want to comment anything on there, but that's what I thought.
But it's still awareness, it's still education. They still watch it and they still go, oh, cool. And then they see you again, and then come Christmas, they go, we need some whiskey. Well, we need a present. We're going to come and see you.
Yeah.
What's been one of the biggest learnings you've found over the last year of doing video?
The biggest learning for me probably has been around equipment. Like I'm still on pretty basic, like I told you. Just my phone. All my videos start.
But then again, you can do everything on your phone. We're using a smartphone right now to record this interview, and you can do it effectively.
Yeah, but like my videos would always start, and it would annoy some knowledgeable friends of me. I would say, hey, can you hear me? Like, and he would say, if it's live, just assume it's on and just start talking. But, you know what I mean? And if you look at some of my videos, I'm selling the phone, but I'm graduating to better equipment slowly. But it doesn't matter, because it's not about the equipment, or it's not about me setting it up. It's about my words when I start talking about the journey and the whiskey as well, you know.
But sure, and I know that good audio, and you want to put yourself, put your best foot forward in terms of equipment. But ultimately, people will kind of, I can't quite hear that, but they still listen and they still engage. So it doesn't, it really is about what you've got to say and how you package it. And whereas you've talked about YouTube as being your, next potential global whiskey media star.
Now, I mean, I don't, because I've been watching them, right? And I have some stars who I've been watching. I've got a mate, Trevor. He does them as well. He does them kind of similar to me in a passionate way, but he has no selling or meeting people angle. He just buys whiskey off me and review it, and we'll swap samples. But I want to do it in a way, I want to showcase some of the stuff that's made here, some of the good whiskey. Gin as well, I'm not biased towards other. I'll do that, and go visit these people and showcase it. But I'm really hoping it'll be a stepping stone to go to other countries, like I mentioned before.
Yeah.
I really want to go to Tasmania right now, because everything that's happening there is coming here. They're drinking a lot more of their locally produced stuff than stuff that's coming from UK or Scotland. And gin, whiskey, vodka, they drink local. They drink a lot less, but drink good quality local made stuff. And a lot of it's coming here. And go to other countries as well. I would love to go to India. There's a couple of really good whiskey distilleries there. And,
so you want to produce content on YouTube to really talk about and showcase global whiskies, but from a New Zealand perspective.
Yeah, pretty much. Because remember, we touched on it. We get nothing here. Like I got given 6 of these, right? They're sold out, and I got given 1 more. Like really, I've got orders for 8 of them. How do I give this to 7 other people?
Well, that's cool. Then you do tasting events where it's like, well, that'll be $50 for that one.
But we're such a small country, and but that's why I want to do the YouTube channel. Hopefully it will take me other places. I want to go visit other whiskey bars. I think, like in Auckland, we got Jefferson's. We got Collie and Punch. They're good places to go to. They've got whiskey that money can't buy. In New Zealand, you can't go to a liquor store or go online and buy some of these bottles. Yes, they're expensive, but it is a journey. You know?
Sure.
And it's a good journey, I reckon.
Cool. Cool. What's in the showcase box on the table? Can we see this? We think we can. Christmas is coming up. Everyone needs, one of those little surprises. What's in the box?
So this was my earliest success doing a video on Facebook. I actually got one of my staff in the liquor store just hold this up, and we just like sort of just kind of like those toy review videos.
Oh, yeah.
And just doing it that way, and straight away everyone wanted one. They've done a new one.
Who
now.
wants one of these now? Do you want one of these now?
It's rum, by the
Yeah,
way.
cool. It's rum. Rum. It's Christmas time, doesn't it? Rum goes with everything.
It's 6 of the best rums they showcased. But the point I want to make is, doing that video was an eye opener for me. I could have taken the best photo, and I could have discounted 50%. We wouldn't have sold any.
Sure.
Right? We did the video, and my ex-husband was like, oh my God, never seen one of these before. And it used to be called a cigar box, and we were like, what is it, a cigar in there too? Rum and cigars, but it was just 6 really good rums. And doing that, and it was not staged. You know, you can see a bit of my shoe on the floor in the video. It was just so...
But that's the difference between, you know, big brand work, making sure that absolutely everything is perfect with an art director and a copywriter sitting there overseeing everything, and authentic people telling passionate, authentic stories about what they do, and that's the difference, and that's why this medium works perfectly.
Yeah, definitely.
Because people, they see the real you.
Yeah. I mean, and it's all about stories, man, you know? And that's why I went to Scotland.
Have you got a story for today? Come on, tell us your best overseas story to finish
Best
up.
overseas story for me would probably be when I was at Bournemouth on Ala. I hooked up there at a whiskey tour with these 2 guys from Edinburgh, father and son. And the father had worked in India, you know, for a bank. And we had this amazing connection. Went on this 2-hour tour, did the whole thing, and you know, and we parted ways, you know. But I'll always remember that 2 hours, because my son right now is only 4, and I can't wait to do that trip, because whiskey means a lot to me, and I love to, you know, when he turns 18. So this fella, he was probably 40-ish. Son was bang on 18.
Got it.
Yeah, and they were on this trip, and they flew in from Edinburgh, which is not very far. For us, it's quite far, obviously. But
Sure.
It'd be good to do that.
You're looking forward to that father-son connection through, obviously, a passionate. Hopefully, he'll be into whiskey.
Well, hopefully, or
Touch wood. Yeah.
But can I make another point?
Yeah.
Real quick. So, like this whiskey in particular was distilled in 1992.
Sure.
That's becoming quite a, as people's disposable income is getting quite good, that's becoming quite a thing. Either if you're a real whiskey man, like for someone like me, I try and buy some whiskey from 1984, my birth year, and it's freaking expensive because it's becoming 32, 34 years old. But a lot of people, I say to them, you know, like if your kid's born in 2011 or 2010, you can buy a bottle now. It's only $80. It's something you can put away.
Sure.
And the day you turn 18 or 21, it's probably one of the best investments you can ever do, you know, or gift it to them or whatever you want to do.
Sure.
But
Sure.
that's if you want to go to that detail, you know.
Got it.
Yeah.
Mind you, I remember it was like when I lived in Sydney, and I was a fan of golf. And literally, when a son was born, they used to buy his membership then for the Royal Sydney Golf Course. And by the time he was 18, you know, it's worth it. But you buy it then and invest it. And it's like anything, you know, compound interest. Put in and you get return on it. Can you find a bottle, not to give away my birth year, but I'm going to have to. Can you find a good bottle from 1968?
68, okay. Well, I'm sure I can. I have a 66 at the moment.
Ooh.
Which is for a good friend who owns a whiskey bar in Napier,
Yeah.
Indigo. He hasn't bought it yet, but he will one day. But it's subjective, man. You know, I mean, I play cricket. I've had the same cricket gear for 14 years. I've never seen the need to buy another set of pads. I've had the same cricket bat because I don't bat that well. It's just lasted. It's lasted long. I've changed the shoes maybe, but I don't go out and buy another $500 worth of gear every year. But this is something I get into, and everyone has their passion. You know, I mean, I came across this guy, Jason, and he spends close to $40K a year on cars. He buys old beaten cars and he does them up and
Sure.
sells them at a loss most of the time, you know, but he's got some amazing cars as well, you know, but that's his passion, you know, he spends money on his cars. So, yeah, everyone has, that floats their boat, you know.
Can't you hear that passion?
Yeah.
You know, you really are an inspiration. That's why I just couldn't wait to get you on camera and have a bit of a chat. Lastly, how much do you think you would contribute video to the success of your business?
Going forward, I'm going to...
Based on up until now, how much do you think video has played its part in terms of the growth of your business?
See, the thing is, my business is quite small. in terms of online sales compared to other online stores, I'm still in my infancy, but I have, using video, successfully created the turnover without a significant marketing budget. You know, where all those guys are spending thousands of dollars on Google ads and Facebook ads, which I'm starting to do now, very little.
Sure.
But it's always been around creating good content, you know, and just putting it out there, test, and it works.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Test, sip, sip, sip.
Yeah.
Ash, really appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on the John Mabry Show, and we look forward to coming along to, when is your next event?
So next one's 20th of November in Mount Eden. So
Whoa, whereabouts in Mount Eden? Oh, we're not to
it's
say.
called Good Home.
I know where it is, yeah. I'll be there. How much are tickets?
$60, but they've changed the rules.
What?
They've changed the rules. It's actually Ireland versus Scotland now. So we're going to be using 3 whiskeys from Ireland and 3 from Scotland, pitching them against each other. So in the past, I've always done Scottish whiskey or something else, but it was actually the manager, Stevie's idea.
Yeah.
They would do 3 from here and 3 from here, so that's going to be quite cool.
Almost like Battle of the Sexes, you know?
Pretty, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
England versus Scotland.
Yeah.
Well, that should be challenging.
Yeah.
So 20th of November?
Yeah, that's.
And how many, and tickets still available?
Yeah, they're still available. You know, I think 20, 25 are available. It's a big venue.
24 are available because I've got one of those. Don't touch it.
Yeah. But it'd be a good night, you know. And I think it'd be the last one in Auckland this year. So yeah, we'll see.
Get along and get those Christmas presents early. Ash, again, thank you so much for coming
Of course,
along.
man. Thanks for having me.
Cool.
You know, sweet.